Damn, Pansy's looking kind of hot right now, bro. Dick Rider! This is Pansy. It says stop killing BDO with greed. Again, this got said to me by like 8 people.
Decline. A lot of players are just fed up with the devs and the direction they're taking the game. Not to say the game's completely dead, but it's definitely not looking good.
Understatement.
The game turned into a grind simulator.
If we all leave BDO right now, what's the alternative? You say PA is trash. Well, I didn't say PA is trash. They made the best game I've ever played. Wait till you see NCSoft is capable of in Blade and Soul, or we all know what Amazon does. Oh, okay, let me be very clear. I think that Pluribus is a phenomenal company. They made the best game that I've ever played in my life. They are completely f***ing it up currently, but it's not like they couldn't turn the ship. All right? NCSoft has destroyed many games that it's a part of. And to be 100% clear, Black Desert, better game than Throne and Liberty. Said it once, we'll say it again. Better game. But because they've recently destroyed it, the state of Black Desert is worse than Throne and Liberty is. So Throne and Liberty feels a lot better now. Even though it has worse overall gameplay, it's in a much better state. And the developers listen to feedback, so there's a much lower chance that they tank it. Still a decent chance it is NCSoft, right? It's not outside of the realm of possibilities, but they are listening to feedback, right? So it is what it is. It's not the same game at all. I feel like they can barely be compared. Okay, so this is another comment that I get a lot on my videos, and I want to be clear. You can absolutely compare Black Desert and Throne and Liberty. And the reason is, they both are PvP-oriented, massive multiplayer online role-playing games. Okay? PvP, MMO, RPGs. There are not very many of those on the market, and so they are going to be directly compared to one another. Especially when you consider when BDO came out, it was a lot like Throne and Liberty and how it approached open-world PvP, or just PvP in just general. Like, its stance on PvP was very pro-PvP game, right? Like, people are comparing the two. They're very different. You're not wrong, but that doesn't mean you can't compare them. You can absolutely compare them, right? But like, you know, Black Desert wins out in certain areas and Throne and Liberty wins out in others. The fundamental basis of the entire thing is that Black Desert has better gameplay. Its combat is so cleanly better, it's not even remotely close. The problem is there's no good systems to utilize that combat in anymore. You can have the best combat in the world and have nowhere to use it and completely destroy your game. That's the problem. Throne and Liberty has dog shit combat compared to BDO, but at least they have great systems to use it in, and it feels much better for this reason. Just the truth.
And the grind spots are just being rehashed. Open world PvP's been exiled and they're doubling down on their greedy monetizations. They did some good, adding the party boss rush content, and let's be real though, LOML 2 should have came out 2 to 3 months after LOML 1. You know, back then we had a massive resurgence of players into BDO because Lost Ark was in the same situation.
It was their baby though, they were never going to release it that fast, you're crazy.
BDO is in right now. However, due to some criticisms PA received at that time, they took drastic measures in the wrong direction and seriously devalued the experience of the existing player base, and I'm referring to the whole PvP debacle back in 2023.
Bro, I want to point out that damn, Pansy's looking kind of hot right now, bro. Bro, this is crazy. Bro, this crazy, bro. I love this direction for Pansy. This is good.
They did 3 nasty changes, and the first one was they removed single-sided guild declarations of war.
No one really gave a shit about that. There was like 200 players collectively that were like, oh my god, me, right? And a lot of the PvP players lashed out about it, but let's be honest, they accepted those changes and moved on. Not very many people just quit BDO because of those changes. It was a slap in the face, admittedly, but no one really gave a.
Second, they changed Marnie Realm to refresh every other hour, so you have literally like 11 hours a day or something. And lastly, the worst of all, they made Karma a family-wide penalty, and it was just a lot more difficult when
That
you
was
went
crazy.
red. Now, Guild Wars, you know, they could have really done it in a different way. They could have said, hey, as a guild, you have to flag up for PvP or no PvP. If you flagged up for PvP, you got a 5% item drop rate across the guild, and you could be decked on by other guilds without a mutual declaration. If you declared no, then it had to be mutual. It would have been that simple. I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my.
That was the exact feedback that I gave. And the reason that I gave it, first of all, you're copying me and then I'm reacting to you. So it's fair. But like the reason I gave it is because that's the system that New World has. It's not a perfect system, but it works. You know what I mean? I would argue that the buff should be like 30 or 40%. Give them really big incentive.
My head, but that would have worked well, right? And
Yeah, I still don't think that removing one-sided decks never needed to happen. But because they didn't want to enforce their terms of service, they felt it needed to happen. If they had just enforced their terms of service on the 1% of the 1% of players that were abusing it and attacking people IRL, none of that needed to happen. It's literally insane. Like it just attacked the players, the small amount of players that are abusing your system. You don't have to punish everyone for it. It didn't make any sense. But they said, no, we can't do that. And so we said, okay, then remove one-sided decks. Here we are. And to be clear, none of them quit. Everybody kept playing.
And honestly, they didn't need to go this such a drastic direction. And 100%, they were completely off the mark and were not using their brains at all. Literally, one of these changes would have been sufficient to alleviate the issue that new players were whining they couldn't play the game because they were getting griefed in open world. But the reality is that was such a rare thing to happen. How many people actually went and got griefed so hard that they couldn't play at all? They probably got killed off a certain grind spot because someone else wanted to take it.
Dude, I will say, okay, so the reason why new players today get really butthurt and upset, everybody calls them snowflakes. I want to be clear to the new players and the mid-game players watching in my chat right now. You are not snowflakes if somebody is killing you off your grind zone and following you from server to server. Okay? Because it's personal. All right? Like, you're not a snowflake for getting upset about that. All right? Back in the day, I used to love it when people would try to push me off my grind zone, right? But see, here's the thing. It was never personal. When I was grinding Elric Shrine, Aeon Janus is in the chat, so I'll use Helm's Post. When I was grinding at Helms, back in the day, all right, in the underground, and somebody came down and tried to kill me off my grind spot and successfully did so, I didn't get upset about it. It's like, man, I need to keep grinding. And I would swap servers and I would look for something else. Do you know why? It's because he wasn't there to kill me. He was there to grind the zone, and I was in the way. Okay, now we've got way more servers, way less players, way more grind zones, way more ways to avoid players. So when somebody does kill you in PvP, it's not over a competition for resources. It's because they hate you as a human being. Like, and then when they come follow you server to server, it's not like, hey man, I got kicked off my server again, so I'm back. You, and then they turbo you. No, it's because they just want to harass you, and that feels really bad. That feels really bad. Like, when back in the day, it didn't feel bad to get PvP'd. You were like, I want to get stronger so I can dunk on them. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then when I got strong enough to go to Sawsons, you know what I did? I walk up to Sawsons, party of 5 people. I'll never forget it. It was the day I went red. I spent like a few months as a red player. I went to Sawsons on my dark night, and I said, hey, this is my grind zone now. And then in general chat, they're like, dude, there's 5 of us. We're grinding here. Okay, but he can't kill all of us. And then like Anakin in the throne room with the younglings, I popped my Vedian out and slaughtered every single one of those little rats. Mercilessly. They didn't come back. They said, I'm gonna kill us so fast, bro. Holy shit. Negative 1 million karma immediately. I didn't give a f. Or negative 300k karma immediately. I didn't give a f. It was fun too. We enjoyed it. And you know what? They were like, damn, he really could kill us. Holy shit. It wasn't personal. I'm here to take this grind zone. I'm not here to, you're in the way. Okay. I'm going to kill you, but it's not because I hate you particularly. It's because I want these resources, right? It feels way different, way different. So like new players today are not snowflakes when they're being harassed. Okay. Like they're like, it's just that simple, because PvP nowadays in the open world feels like harassment because there's no reason to really fight over a grind zone anymore. There's like none. You can swap servers. There's Marnie's Realm. There's all kinds of different options that you can do, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Plus, you don't want to grind anyway. Let's be honest. Half of the BDO gameplay, it's like you have the Magnus where you could instant teleport over to Ash Forest, but you ride your horse all the way from Heidel. Why? Because you need the time to mentally prepare for the stupid grind session, for this dog shit that you're about to have to go through. So you autopath all the way there where you're talking to your friends in Discord. And then you get there and you stare at it. You go through your prep phase 3, 4, 5 times. You go through a checklist. Santa, you're making that look like an amateur, only checking his list twice. That I made sure that my pets were out at least 6 times before I started grinding. And you will still forget something, to be clear, which is why you won't actually do it. You'll just stare at the grind zone for an hour. You'll tag, you'll buff up, you'll be ready to go, you'll be standing in front of it and be like, okay, time to swap to my tag. We're ready to grind. And then you go life skill for the next hour and a half. Okay? Like, that's how it is. Okay? But don't worry, the character's ready now. It's fine, it's ready now. I'm not there yet. Okay? You don't want to grind anyway. You'll give him the spot. That was a year-long vert getting the Devo at Ash Forest. Yep.
But that's the law of nature. I mean, the dominant player won. And you could fight back, you can grief him back or whatever, but there were ways around it. You could just switch servers. You can just go to Marnie Realm or something.
Bro, back then there were so few places to grind that were actually reasonably valuable, and so few servers, and so many players that like it was hard to avoid other players. Note and I used to run onto the grind zone as a striker in a dark night, and I'll never forget. We would run in and we would be like, we see white dots, flag and drag, baby. Here we go. Woo! And then we would hit them, do a full combo on this Valkyrie, do no damage. I am so sorry, sir. There was a Maewa here earlier. We were looking for her. We thought this is your grind, so we respect that. We was just going to the next channel. Holy shit, that guy has a lot of gear. What the
something. I know situations like some streamers like Canon and Brobear, they had it really bad. They had like a small guild that was actually chasing them across servers, and every time they streamed, they would grief them. But that was such a...
Yeah, so you guys asked for this. I just want to point out the PvP scene, you get what you deserve. Everybody praised Goon as saviors. They love Goon this, they love Goon that. And then they blame Canon for getting things changed. If the PvP scene had gone and actually defended actual PvP and not encouraged Goon to harass them, maybe we would be in a different scenario. But you encouraged them to do this, so like, don't tell me that you were not on the side of unreasonable. Okay, because the entire PvP, they were griefing me too. I was there. Except the difference between me and Canon and Brobear is I'm not Korean, and I just kept grinding. I just said, bro, I've been dealing with this for years. I just kept going.
Individual issue, and such a rare thing to actually happen to that extent. And they even went and removed black robing after a while, because
black robe should have been removed forever ago. That was a W change.
You know, they felt the situation got bad. But honestly, they should have handled those cases as individual cases. They should have went after the people who were causing those kind of excessive situations and not punish the entire game. I highly doubt it was a widespread problem. Me as a streamer and YouTuber, I probably got griefed like twice, and it wasn't even because I was a streamer or something. Someone just wanted to fight. I just had to change channels and I was good. There was...
Nah, bro. Okay. He's had it easy. I've been run into the ground, bro. People get gifted value packs when they server hunt me. It's insane.
The time I probably got stream sniped. I do remember that, but once again, change servers, I'm good. Now I know players have different experiences, but
I mean, I grind with my server fully available. People just know where I am. I just don't care anymore, because if they want to find me, they're going to find me.
The reality is they did not need to make such drastic changes to this extent. One of those changes would have been sufficient. That Marnie Realm change would have been sufficient. I can only think of one reason.
No. They just need to enforce their TOS. Nothing else even needed to change.
They did go down this route. Greed. Now hear me out. They were
well, they went down that route because they got sued in Korea. Hopefully you guys have heard about this. They got sued in Korea. So after I got fired from my job over the crazy shit that happened to me, shortly after that, there was a girl in Korea. And in Korea, it's far worse because they live like down the street from each other because Korea is a small country. People were showing up to sexually harass like this content creator. And she had to sue Pluribus because Pluribus wouldn't do anything about it. Like, they were literally harassing her in game and then like coming after her IRL because of what was going on in Black Desert Online. And like Pluribus did nothing about it because they are dumb and don't want to enforce their TOS and are incapable of handling that situation. So she finally had to sue them. Legal got involved, and then finally suddenly we got node war changes. I mean, we got what, one-sided decks, karma changes, Jay's cracking down on everything. Like the artist himself came for the TOS changes. Everything came through. Why do you think it all came through? It's because they got sued. Got any videos on this? There's plenty of videos on it. If you go back to the controversy, it all happened in Korea, so there wasn't much coverage on our side of it. But like, if you go back to what happened in Korea, that's exactly what happened. Go ask the Korean streamers.
Convinced that now they
go ask what's his face, Hugh Hotbar. I guarantee you Hugh knows about it.
They found the formula to bring in new players to the game, right? You know, players who'd spend money and not complain about the existing systems, while replacing these whiny bitches of old players who like rarely ever spend any money and would grind all day for their silver and buy.
Correction, those veteran players spend a lot of money.
Buy their gear, or
at least a lot of them do. Decent amount of them do.
You know, just play it like it was a free-to-play
Not as much as the new players, though.
Game or something, you know? Yeah, screw those guys. We want the new guys in who are more favorable to our monetization. They thought they got the bag, but they're just greedy. Instead of doing all that, they should have, you know, addressed the issue in a more delicate manner without antagonizing an entire section of the player base. And of course, new players were going to have it rough, but new players would have quit anyway, you know?
New players don't have it rough. The new player experience in BDO is one of the best in the genre now. Like, bro, it's so much easier to just pick up the game as a new player and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, even the quest line is, like, followable now. Like, what the f*** are we talking about? They love it. Doesn't matter to them.
When a new game comes out,
but like, they did realize that their new players make them a lot of money, and I think that they misread the Lost Ark situation. Truly, I think that what ultimately happened is they misread what happened with Lost Ark. They saw Land of the Morning Light get released, and they saw tens of thousands of extra players playing their game. Like, oh my god, Land of the Morning Light, we did such a good job with this expansion. Look how many more players there are, right? That's what they thought. They didn't contribute it at all to this Lost Ark clown fiesta that was going on, okay? The reality of the situation is that Lost Ark had their three bozos shit going on. They all came to the next best thing, which was Black Desert, because we have the best combat in the genre, and they said, if our shit game is in the shitter, we're just going to go play your shit game. And that's what they did. They came and played it, right? And there was a huge burst in players, content creators coming to play the game. It was massive. It was crazy. But it wasn't necessarily because Land of the Morning Light was phenomenal. It was because Lost Ark was dog shit, okay? And they misread that, which is why they took so long and really nitpicked Land of the Morning Light Part 2, which was not so well received. See, it was not so well received. So here is Land of the Morning Light Part 1 at 34,281. Land of the Morning Light Part 2 released in, what, September? Right? It was like last month, or was it August? 19. And still declining. And still declining. But see, the developers attributed the loss of players in their game. It wasn't because Lost Ark got fixed and they all naturally went back to go play Lost Ark. It was because they got bullied out of the game. That's how the developers see it. That's how Jay sees it. It's it was entirely on them that all these players came, and then it was entirely on them that they left. Like, no, those players, most of them were going to leave anyway once Lost Ark was fixed, right? Some of them were going to stay, some of them were going to go. And yes, a few more of them went because they got harassed, but not that many. They misread the situation completely. They think that they are God's gift to the universe. They thought that their Land of the Morning Light Part 1 expansion was the reason that everybody came and played their game, and it wasn't. Boss Blitz was great and everything. It just happened to be at the time that Lost Ark was shitting the bed, so we got all their players. It was great. But sadly, all those players just naturally left after over time, and Jay blamed that on the PvPers and not on the obvious fact that Lost Ark became better again. And so the PvPers have been suffering ever since. And the more you punish the PvPers, the more your game turns to dog shit. Because although you might not like to admit it, and although PvPers are a smaller part of your player base, it is a fundamental and critical aspect of why your game is successful. And when you rip that away from your players, when you rip competition away from your players, when you rip their systems from them, they leave. Whether they liked PvP or not is irrelevant.
That a game gets hyped up, a lot of players come in, and a lot of players will leave after. Some players will stay. The reality is it's really difficult to convince someone to play an MMORPG, let alone an anti-social MMORPG like BDO, let alone a pay-to-win game like BDO.
It was hard to convince me to play an MMORPG. I hated MMOs.
BDO, which its cash up is literally Womit.
Combat pulled me in.
But, you know, BDO's in the same position Lost Ark was last year. And now
the combat pulled me in, and the women are super hot. The graphics are incredible.
Throne and Liberty is the new home of the BDO refugees for the next month or two. And of course, a lot of people will quit that too. It's an MMORPG. You know, we don't owe any game company loyalty. They owe us everything. We made their game the success it is.
Holy, that was based. I used to think that I owed Perlibus a tremendous amount. Like, I felt like I owed Perlibus so much because they gave me the opportunity to be a BDO partner. And they gave me opportunities that helped me grow my creator career and put me where I'm at. But Pansy's right. They're the ones that owe us tremendously. Perlibus owes me, owes you, owes Pansy, owes everyone way, way more. Like we don't owe them anything. We give them everything. Okay? I alone make them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I don't even want to know the figure. It would probably make me mad, right? Like it would make for every player that is playing the game for longer because I make content or Fake Uni or Choice or Biceptimus Prime, right? Every time those players that wouldn't be playing the game otherwise spend money, it's a direct result of Choice, Bicep, myself, Frosty, Fake, Pansy, and everybody else that makes content like that. I'm not saying that all players are like this, but there's definitely a decent amount of players that consume content and are playing BDO because they saw a content creator that they really liked playing it and were like, damn, maybe I should give this game a shot. And then they spent money on it. Like, think how much money they've made off of content creators. It's insane.
We're the ones.
And that's just the creators. Guys, think how much money they're making off of you, the players. Oh, Jesus.
Who pay the bill.
How much money have you all spent on BDO? I think that I've spent around $7,500. In the 7 years that I've played, I've spent about $7,500. Zero. Holy shit, that's crazy. 300, 340, 3K, 3K, yeah. $30 and 9K hours, 3K, yeah, 4K, yeah. 900, 1900, 9,000, 5,000, 3,000, right? Like, bro, they owe you everything. And they are giving you nothing. That's what Pansy's trying to say.
Bills for them. Making dipshit moves and making changes like this is just asking to let your game die. And it's your golden goose. Why are you going to do that? Why not make good changes? Why delete content? Why
China. They don't give a f about us. They're going to make money off of China. Okay.
Why don't you cater to everyone like you want to without antagonizing a group of players? I honestly don't think it's that hard, but you know, what do I know? I'm not a developer of some Korean grind game, right? So, but they really dropped the ball with their greed and back-to-back updates of terrible things like
China. Yeah, they're releasing the game in China. A lot of these changes, people speculate that a lot of the changes that we got, China is extremely strict about PvP in games. They say that you can't force PvP on other players at all. Which begs the question, what's BDO going to look like in China? You know? But, like, there's a lot of stipulations that China and, like, the Chinese version of the game have to have in order to publish in China. They've finally gotten publishing rights, and they're going to publish in the next month or two. And there's, like, what, a million people signed up to play BDO? It's some crazy amount of people signed up to play the Chinese version of BDO. The rest of us are going to look pathetic. Guys, look how many people. This is worldwide on Steam. Worldwide on Steam. China's going to make them more money than they know what to do with. Then they're going to immediately release Crimson Desert. And they're never going to listen to you ever again. That's what I'm scared of. That deep down, right there, that's what I'm terrified of. That haunts me. You sure about that? No, I'm not. But there's a non-zero possibility of it happening, and you have to admit it. That scares the shit out of me. I like to think that they would listen to us, even though China's going to have a lot of players and make them a lot of money. I would like to think that they would still listen to us, but let's be honest. How much have they listened to us before? Right? And then moving forward, now they're going to have another game to sit on, like Crimson Desert. They're going to make a lot off that. That's going to come out soon, first quarter of 2025, probably. China, they can float on that for years to come. It's not a far stretch to say that we're probably not going to get very many changes after that. Why listen to us? Listen to the Chinese people who are the ones playing the game. It's going to be a little rough, I think. At least that's what scares me. That's what scares me. But we'll see.
I was node warring a few months ago. I'm not talking out of my ass right here. I'm actually talking from experience. I was running with Statistic. Hunter's a buddy of mine, and I was running with them. Like, I had fun for a few weeks, but it really sucked going into tier 1, getting stomped by Cho. Cho's gone, but the game system hasn't changed. And I saw the devs' new commentary that they were going to bring back the old system and let, like, the dominant guild, the previous winner, choose the new system. It's whatever, dude. Like, how slow do you have to be to react to bad situations? Like, you're asking for...
Yeah, like, seriously. China will get drip-fed content over the next few years. Like, console, PA does not give a shit about making anything new to make millions. There it is. That's the brutal truth.
For the game to die at that point. Like, seriously, Pearl Abyss knows how to pull an L out of the jaws of victory. Like, the most dedicated and loyal players you're gonna find in this game are the end game players, the end game PvP players. And I understand there's others too. Like, there's a lot of life skillers who are very dedicated to the game and whatnot, and casual players that are just as important as everyone.
Bro, I have this on 1080p and I feel like I'm watching it without my glasses on or contacts in.
Else, but you know,
we got to fix your camera focus, Pansy.
No, it feels like the PvPers are getting the boot a lot of times. Let's talk about when they released LOML 2, right? They released some fun content with it. I'll give credit where it's due. The boss rush, I like it. Party boss rush, I like it. Sure. I think it's decent content, but it wasn't worth receiving those bits of content at the expense of everything else.
There it is. Yes, because they ruined the old... See, the new content before, we just let it feed them to us for years because we were all playing the old systems in the game, like Node War, like in PvE, you would just go grind old grind zones, whatever, right? There was plenty of old stuff to do, but if they ruin the old stuff and then the new stuff is like, you know, whatever, it's not enough anymore. If they ruin all the old stuff, the new stuff becomes less glamorous.
At the expense of losing PvP. It wasn't an equal trade, in my opinion. Yeah, and LOML 2, it's not worthy of being called the biggest content drop for BDO in a single calendar year. Like, what the hell? The kind of content they added in, it's less than a mini patch from World of Warcraft. And, you know, the kind of backing Pearl Abyss has, the kind of revenue they generate, they're not a small company. They're not a small indie company. They
Holy shit, bro. Damn. They love Land of the Morning Light Part 2, guys. To be 100% clear, they've spent years developing that content to make it as amazing as they could. And like all their development efforts and time have gone into it. And he was like, bro, that's just like a mini patch for WoW. What the damn, bro, damn.
They are AAA with massive resources. They're just using them poorly. And I'm sick of the systems, man. The enhancement system, the greedy Cronstone system. Yes, they finally gave us the pity system. I mean, they got a small W there, but how many years late was that? Imagine if they gave that system 3-4 years ago, the game would have been in a much better state. Like, seriously, just pity system. I mean, the guys are already tapping 20, 30 times, 50 times in some cases to get a success. Like, it took them that long to give that. They only gave that because they had such a bad backlash. We all know that. If they didn't receive that kind of backlash and criticism, they would never have relented. But the Cronstone system, it's their biggest monetization, and seriously, f off. I do not want to sit in a spot for 50 hours, 60 hours, 100 hours to grind for one item, let alone struggle to accumulate Cronstones by pre-ordering costumes or even buying it from the vendor.
God, dude, Pansy, so base, so true, dude. Off with this cron shit is such a nightmare. And then they're like, the slap in the face in the dev note was like, oh, well, we make Karazhan less cron reliant because now they don't disappear when you fail. Well, you idiots, it still required, you moronic. That's not enough. It's still giga required for every enhancement. What, you're gonna get it to noob and then not use Cronstones? What are we talking about? It'll go back to base. You'll lose like 10 AP. What the like, no, you can't do that. You have to use Crons.
It's expensive as hell. My time is worth exponentially more. So is yours. They demand way too much time to gear up. And people will say if
I don't give a fuck about the time it takes to gear up. I don't give a fuck about that. Just take the focus off of gearing up. Like, I don't care. Let's just be honest with ourselves for a minute. Can we just take a moment of honesty? We want to grind in circles for an unknown amount of hours. It just doesn't matter to us. We will do it as long as there are good systems at the end of the rainbow for us to enjoy while we're doing it. We've done this for years. As long as there's a reward at the end of the rainbow, we're willing to do anything. We've shown it as a player base time and time again. But now there's no reward at the end of the rainbow. Yeah, nah. Well, now you're saying nah because now there's no reward at the end of the rainbow. There's nothing left there. There's nothing left. There's no PvP left. So the people that didn't like to grind and only liked PvP can't do that anymore. And the people that were grinding so that they could do PvP later or so that they could just shit on any PvPer that came into the rotation because they had so much gear, that shit's gone too. Even RBF is dead. RBF died first.
If everyone got gear, they're just gonna quit the game because there's nothing to do. Then add stuff to do. Add content. This isn't content. Grind spots aren't content. New pieces of gear aren't content. Boss Rush was content.
They are. They're just not super great, you know.
Content.
Bald.
Guild League was content. AOS was content. Add more of it. Don't delete what we already have. If we have something good, don't touch it. Don't touch it. You do that too many times. And what the hell is the point of gear anyway? To grind faster silver? Like, seriously, what am I using the gear for? Am I going to a new...
there he goes again.
Do you know that the BDOCN beta server put cloths on DK during body modification?
I love how Moobot immediately fucking destroyed. Do you know the BDOCN beta server puts clothes on DK during body modification? Oh god, but dude, the Chinese are gonna have a way worse version of the game than us. That's insane. That's crazy, bro.
New Pinnacle
PvP. That's what you used to use the gear for. Now there's no end game PvE right now in BDO, so like if they destroy PvP, there's no reason that people feel to grind, right?
Spot that I couldn't go to before? No. Am I going to do open world PvP? Where? Like, most content is capped content now. I mean, I wanted capped content, but not at the expense of losing what we already had. Not at the expense of losing stacked tier 3 node wars or open world PvP or guild wars. Like, now what am I going to do with that gear? What's the point of me even going and grinding for so many hours? And the biggest insensitive cue from them was their recent dev blog or whatever it was. They said they accidentally made deck sovereign weapons too easy to get, and that they didn't intend for us to get them so quickly, and that they'll never make the same mistake again. Like, are they high? Like, are they seriously going to office high? Like, do they actually think we're upset by that? Like, then
yeah, so like, here's the thing. I wouldn't be so critical of their apology. I'm okay. I recognize the apology for their sovereign weapon bullshit. Yeah, that's great. But like I said when I reviewed the dev video, I think the apology was a kind of concealed slap in the face to the player base. I really do. I think it was a slap in the face. I think that the developers have f***ed up about 15 times recently. Every change that they seem to bring the game leads us from bad to worse, from PvP to PvE to progression, right? And they're apologizing for like the least egregious one of those changes, right? So they're taking like the smallest thing and being like, okay, yes, we're very wrong about that thing. We will never let that happen again. And we're all like, well, that wasn't even like that big of a deal, right? Like that. Yeti, later status, buddy. Love you, buddy. Thank you. Like, we didn't even really care. Like, the sovereign weapons, you got them fast. Yeah, that was a mistake on their part, but like, okay, well, where's the apology for killing your PvP scene? Where's the apology for your progression? Where's the apology for all of the rest of this shit, right? They basically, and some people are going to say, well, that was the apology for the progression. No, that was apology for sovereign weapons, right? That was not an apology for the PvE grind zones that we've been lacking. No raid content, none of the other stuff, right? Like, they don't want to apologize for any of the other stuff that they've given us that they've up on, because they don't want to acknowledge that they're wrong. And so that's why that apology is a slap in the face, because they picked the one thing that is really minor and they just apologize profusely for that, and then just overlooked the rest of it because they apologized for the smaller thing. I just didn't like that at all. They didn't apologize. Oh, they did. They apologized profusely for the sovereign thing. Like, the biggest apology I've ever seen them give. And he's right. They said, we will never let that happen again. Okay, yeah, whatever. Sounds good. Right? We're still on Cronstones. Node wars still suck. There's still no PvP systems in the game worth a damn. And there's no raids or endgame PvE content that is consistently, like, going to keep us grinding. So, like, that's our problem.
And they proceed to tease even more Cronsinks that they're planning to add next in the form of accessories or what. Or, like, do they actually sincerely believe that's what players want? Like, talk about being out of touch to that extent. I still believe the game can redeem itself and recover, but not under the current leadership and the created.
Do you think, like I love how everybody blames this shit on me? Like, I'm drawing aggro from every other creator for being, when I'm negative at all, and I'm totally fine with that. Direct your anger at me. Don't look at Fake. Don't look at Pansy. You look directly at me, and I will pull you up and farm you. Okay? Go ahead. Give me your hate about how I'm dooming about the game. But at the end of the day, you need me to do that. Okay? Because no one else is going to speak up when the going gets rough. Okay? Except for these creators here. Right? I believe that I have a positive impact on the creator sphere around me. Because if I speak up about something that I don't like, they feel more willing to do it themselves. They won't get nearly as much hate for it, and they get to voice their actual true opinions. Pansy's always voiced his opinion regardless. D-Jules always voiced his opinion regardless. Right? But you can't tell me that, like, the console community has been nearly as active as they were before. Right? Like, you can't tell me that, like, Fake Uni was nearly as negative as he was before he started getting in touch with me a lot. And I understand that that makes me think that, like, you know, I drove Fake Uni to be crazy negative. No, I just encouraged him to speak his mind. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. Now, I don't have this crazy big impact on the creator sphere, okay? But if people want to pretend that I do, let them. I don't give a f***. I'm speaking my mind, okay? In the best possible way that I can. and as passionately about as I can about the game that I love so much. And if you can't handle that, if you want to roll over in your tomb, okay, as the servers close up and as Pearl Abyss goes tits up because their changes to the game kill their game, you're more than happy to do that. But forgive me and the rest of us if we don't want to go down without swinging. It's just the truth.
The team. The reality is they need someone with my kind of experience in both hardcore and casual.
Dark Shadow, welcome back for 4 months. Thanks for trying to fix the game, Blue. I'm trying. Like, I'll be honest with you, I've kind of stopped trying to give them feedback content. This is my first, like, honest to God, I felt like I've given actual constructive feedback, and I'm almost regretting it, if I'm being honest. Because, like, I said I wasn't going to do that anymore, and here I am. I just can't help myself, dude. I literally cannot help myself. Everyone is the savior of BDO. No one is. What do you mean? BDO is not saved. What the fuck are we talking about? If BDO is saved tomorrow and the developers do exactly what everyone says, who wins there? I don't win. The community wins. I'm not the one that's forcing them to... Guys, if they listened to anything I said, we wouldn't be in this situation. Okay? We would be in a completely different situation. All right? They don't listen to anything I ever say. All right? Well, they hear it and then they laugh and then they move on. Right? They don't listen to Pansy. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to Choice. They don't listen to Bicep. They don't listen to Frosty. They don't listen to literally anybody. Okay? The creators aren't heard here. We give the best feedback that we can because we have the best chance of being heard as players. WPA for not listening. Dick Rider!
Formats of the game in all formats of MMORPGs, PvP, PvE, and life skilling. I think it's time to make a change, PA. I'm ready to take over and be the creative lead for...
I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a wonderful meme in the community. Every time someone defends some dog shit change in the game or some dog shit system in the game, I want everybody to just say, Dick Rider! And we all know. We all know. You know what I mean? If you know, you know.
BDO and save the game from ruin. So send me the contract and we'll get started. Kidding, but
yeah, okay.
Did you guys see the thing with Dosa though? Dosa's awakening. He smokes so much pipe that he thinks he's a wizard. Don't even get me started on that. Like, he had a cool looking class that, you know, was pretty decently fun to play. And then you do this. Like, did we need another awakening wizard? Like, we all...
Well, in fairness, they made a fortune off of the Pepsi sponsorship for Succession. If you know, you know. I actually think that Awakening looks incredible. I actually think the Awakening Dosa looks unique, fun to play, super cool, very, like, uniquely designed. It looks really fun to play. It just looks great. It looks like a great class. As always, Pearl Abyss is super good at making good classes and unique classes. Like, you say unique, well, guys, it's like, oh, he's a master of the elements like Wizard. What happened to Witch, bitch? What are we talking about? Okay? You're telling me that this right here, you're telling me that this class actually, you know what? Looks anything like, mute myself because I hate myself. Looks anything like this one? You think that this and this look anything like what you're about to see here? There's tigers jumping around. Look at him moving. Look at, tell me Wizard can do this. Hello? What? Maybe one skill? No. I'll admit that, like, yeah, they're both kind of elementalists, right? But they're both completely different identities as elementalists, right? It's the exact copy. I can't win with these people. Same animation? What? Now, I'll admit, in the past, there's been 1 or 2 animations, like Corsair's movement and Draconia's movement, like their slide, and those feel pretty similar, like the little slide thingy, right? But like, in this case, the class looks really unique. I can't believe people aren't saying tamer. If anything, he's like a male tamer, right? And he's kind of like a hybrid wizard witch kind of deals, but like he's just melee and looks cooler, and his effects all are supposed to play off each other, but admittedly are bugs. Dick riding Awakening Dosa. Dick rider! I hate you guys. I hate you people. You're probably right. Wizard has a lot of skills that look just like this. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this looks good. Yeah, I see Wizard do skills like this all the yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're right. You right. Yeah, no. No, it's like Wizard and Witch had a child together. Lucky Wizard. And their child is just more successful than both of them. Like literally, that's what I would accept. The only thing, yeah, they're elementalists, and Wizard and Witch are looking over like, because they're not nearly as cool as Dosa is, bro. It's just the truth, bro. Like, but they are not the same. They are not the same.
He already got one. He's pretty good, right? Like, what the hell? It could have been like some badass dual wielding ghost blader or something, but no. He's a wizard. He's a wizard.
Homie wanted Yone, bro.
Guys, let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Check me out at...
Okay, I'll be honest with you. It was one of my longest reacts ever. Here's the video here.